another video. So today we're having a look at the Porphis PHS156. It's a HVLP gun. I've got the PHS155, which I've had for quite a while. Very happy with it. Porphis sent this to me free of charge, so I must tell you that and be upfront with you. But they sent me it to try it and see how I got on with it. Funny story was when I first got the PHS155, this was before the website was up and running, the Porphis website. I'll put a link in the description while I'm mentioning the website. We have a discount code, a 5% discount code, Pete Hobby. I'll put a link in the description, so should you wish to avail yourself of that and use it, you're welcome to. And it should take you to the website now, and it should actually apply that discount for you, so you don't have to put the code in, because I know a couple of people were struggling with the code. It's because it's Pete Hobby rather than Pete's Hobbies. Anyway, so PHS155 is what I was after. This is about 1.5 years ago, and I remember I'd got some of their, well, probably 2 years ago now, I'd got some of their PRD guns and their W99 guns, which are their split tip side cup guns, which were really, really good quality, very well made. And I inquired about this, and they said, I'm not sure whether you'll actually want this because it's not made as well as the PRD range. And I thought, well, you know, I'll be the judge of that. You know, I'll have a look at it. I bought it, but, you know, I thought I'll have a look at it and see, you know, how bad it is, really. And it's not bad at all. It's actually very, very good. For the price point of it, it's actually excellent. So I was quite pleased with this, and I think it performs really, really well. Not as good as the PRD range, but it's literally half the price, if not less than that. So yeah, a very, very good spray gun, certainly knocking on the door of many of the makes, you know, the cheaper Iwaters, the A&I guns as well. This is knocking on the door of those and saying, hello, I'm here and I'm as good as you. So yeah, it's a very, very good gun. So when I got the, yeah, we have got there in the end, when I got the PHS156, I thought, well, I'm quite interested to see how things have developed, seeing as this is a new gun. Quality of it is also really, really good. As I say, not up to the PRD standards, but actually really, really good. It's going to be reliable. You can get full spares kits for these, comprehensive kits for not loads of money. So you're not going to be left with a, you know, a gun in a year or 2 years or 3 years if it's had a hard life that you're going to have to throw away. So it's good that we're not sort of like fueling the throwaway lifestyle. So looking at the caps, as you would expect, I think the caps on the caps on the PHS155 and 156 are different. One of the things you will notice, you see around here, which is where the tip is, you'll see there's no gap. So where the cap meets the tip, there's no gap. If you look in the HVLP, there is a gap. So as well as the air holes being different, which they are, we'll take the cap off in a minute and have a look. You've got that feature there where the air is actually coming round the side of the tip. I think they quote about 14, 15 CFM for this. I don't think it will be as much as that because the holes just don't look big enough. But we will see. We'll do a spray out, and when we actually put the swap the regulator over, we use the same regulator and won't adjust it, and I'll run through it at the time, but we'll be able to see how much air it's using, so we give you an approximate guide to how much air it's actually using. So that's the two caps. Why do these things focus on eyes when you actually don't want? So that's the two caps there. Hopefully you can see that's the HVLP, the one waving at you. The holes are bigger, and you also have 3 holes in this one. You can see there, see the light through the 3 holes, and you only have 2 holes in that one. So the caps are quite different, and you would expect that. As far as the tips are concerned, I am pulling the trigger back in case you're worried about me ruining the tip. I don't think I could see any difference between the two. The other HVLP gun that I've got, and another point of these, which I have gone through before, but I will go through again. For those that don't like baffles or seals or anything like that, these are ideal guns because they actually seal on the body. So they're like the Segolas and the Iwatas and some of the Meiji guns. They actually seal against the body. So this taper here, this taper just here, actually seals inside the body. So you haven't got to worry about any baffles falling out or any seals falling out. You know, like sometimes you get a seal behind the baffle. You haven't got to worry about any of that. That just literally goes in and that's all you've got, which is obviously the same on this one as well. If my voice sounds as if it's going, it's because I've been trying to do these videos all day. I started at about midday and it is now 25 to 8 in the evening, and that's for 3 videos because I make mistakes, you see, and I keep forgetting things. Right, let's have a look. PHS155 and PHS156 look the same to me. Are the holes bigger? No, they look the same to me. Yeah, I think that's going to be, the tips are the same. I can't get my, I've got a taper gauge that will measure the thickness of holes, but you can't get into them because there's no access, which does leave you to the point of how they drill them. They must drill them and then put the cap on afterwards, mustn't they? But anyway, I thought I'd just give you a quick introduction to that because it's a new gun, and we will bring you a proper review of this and we'll put it up against some other guns as well. Before my voice goes, I'll say goodbye. Oh, and another thing I must remember, otherwise I'll have to do it again. There's a company called RX Spray, which are in the UK. I'm nothing to do with them, but they do import Porphis guns and they do sell Porphis guns. So I will put a link in the description to their website should you want to buy the things in the UK. As I say, I'm nothing to do with them, but I thought I would publicise it because I appreciate the fact that somebody's actually got on and bring the guns in. The only other thing I will say, actually, why I notice it, if the voice will hold out, is these are obviously not anodised, they're obviously coated, and you can see there where the body is actually or the black is actually pulling away because of, you know, putting the cap on and off, on and off, on and off. I think that might be different on this because the coating on this seems better. It seems like it's like some of the Japanese DV1 Base guns. It seems to be like a non-stick coating. When I originally cleaned this out, when I first got it, I cleaned it out to make sure there was no debris or oil or grease in there. I noticed that the thinners was beading on this material, which it doesn't on this one. So I think they've actually upped the coating on this, upped the game. Only time will tell, but it's just an observation. It looks like it's better quality coating. Anyway, camera on my head, we'll do a spray out and see what we find, and we'll look at the air consumption as well. Thanks guys. So we'll start with the PHS155, which is the MP version. This is a 1.3. We've got the onboard air control fully open so that we get a correct reading at the gauge. We've got the fluid fully open, and we've got the onboard fan control fully open. So we'll check the pressure. Out of interest, this gauge has just come off a PC415, which is an MP, and they're supposed to use about the same amount of air. So if that reads 2 bar, which is what I'm going to use this at, which is 29 psi, then it means that this is using the same amount of air, or drawing the same amount of air as the PC415. So let's have a look. Yeah, exactly the same. Porphis reckon about 10 to 10.5 CFM at 2 bar, 29 psi, which I would say is about right. So let's get our trusty spanner. Never seem to have the trusty spanner when I want it. Trusty NSI water spanner, 7 inches long, so 175mm. People will normally use the guns a little bit closer than that, but as long as it's the same for all of them, it's a good way of comparing, I think. The material is a mixture of clear coat, thinners or reducer, and some tinter, some red tinter, just so that it shows up better against a white background. 18 seconds for a DIN 4 cup. So a Ford 4 cup, that's what we aim for, which is representative of a high solids clear coat, not a UHS, but a high solids clear coat. It's quite 16 to 18 seconds is quite an average for a material to go through a Ford 4 cup. Okay, so as I say, everything's open, 7 inches away, and let's see what we get. Good pattern. Right, so I'm going to put this on its side, and the reason I put it on its side is that you can turn the cap on its side, but I'm not always convinced. Sometimes these baffles, although this doesn't actually have a baffle, but they're actually directional, so I'm sure that they're made so that the cap is in a certain position, and obviously if I put it sideways like that and spray, then it's not in the right position. So I'm going to put it how it normally is and just put the gun on its side instead. So let's put the gun on its side, again 7 inches, and I'll keep it rolling and we'll get an idea of how even the pattern is. Which again is nice and even. With some cheap guns and even some expensive guns, you don't get a particularly even pattern, but these Porphis guns normally give you a good even pattern. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll get this down and we'll put the 156 up and just see what sort of pattern it makes. So we're going now with the PHS156. This is the HVLP gun, PHS156 1.3. We've got the controls all fully open, same as on the 155. So fan, the fluid and the onboard air control. The fluid is exactly the same, viscosity 18 seconds for a Ford 4 cup, and we've got the same gauge as I used on the 155, and I haven't touched it. So if it reads 2 bar, it's using the same amount of air as the 155. If it shows a higher reading than 2 bar, so 29 psi, if it shows a higher reading, it means it's using less air. If it shows a lower reading, it means it's using more air. So I'm going to set it to 2 bar, but initially we'll see what it goes to. Hopefully you can see that. So it is just under 2 bar. So we just need to up it a little bit more. So I reckon this is probably about 11.5, 12 CFM. So not too bad for a HVLP gun. Right, so we use our trusty spanner once again, 7 inches, 175mm, and see what we get. Let me go down here. I've no idea what the size of pattern this is going to be. Oh, it's a good pattern though. And we do a long one down here, about there. And see how we go. Yeah, it's a pretty even pattern, a little bit more down the bottom than the top, and that's going to be because the gun is at a slight angle, but yeah, I mean it's evened out nicely. So I'll get this down and we'll have a look. It looks a slightly wetter pattern, slightly like broader pattern, but I'll put this next to it and we'll just sign off and have a look. So let's have a quick look what we got. The patterns look very, very similar. They look slightly bottom heavy, but that's only because the fluid, because it's upright, it runs down slightly because we're effectively overloading it. You wouldn't put that much fluid when you were spraying because you'd end up with runs. But yeah, I mean it's a pretty even pattern, quite a small pattern. I mean the PHS155 is a really good gun. So I fully expect the PHS156 to be good, and it's not actually using much more air. But you can see, apologies for this bit here, when these are on a roll, this paper is on a roll and it keeps trying to curl up, and when you take it off a flat board it automatically wants to curl up, which is obviously one of the worst things you can have when everything's wet, because as you can see there, it's curled round and stuck the other side. But anyway, hopefully you're getting an idea of how these perform. But again, the patterns are nice and even, bit of an angle, but that's just because of a gravity gun really. But yeah, really even patterns. Let me get a, because they're not particularly big, so let me get a tape measure, and then you can see, trying to do this with one hand. How do we do that? Use our mouth. That's it. Oh, need a new mouth. There we go. So it's about, if you include it all, about 10 inches I suppose, and that's with the gun 7 inches away. Again, this one about the same, maybe 9 inches. Yeah, they are about the same. That's, I mean, that was held open longer. That's 9-10 inches, but that's because it's been held open, so even the edges which are here on this bit will wetten up because you're just overloading the pattern really. But yeah, it looks slightly smaller pattern on the PHS155, but still a good even pattern. Anyway guys, I'm not sure what we've learned from that, but I'll bring you a proper review of this anyway. Yeah, I mean, I quite like these because they seem quite good value for money, and they're reasonably well made. Anyway, thanks for watching as always, and you keep watching them and I'll keep them coming. And if you are enjoying the videos, maybe think about giving us a thumbs up, and why not give us a subscription. Cheers guys, bye bye.